Hi, I am going to honestly show you how to manifest into that thing that we call the impossible zone, where it's not supposed to happen, where things are supernatural, honestly. Something supernatural happened to me. I kid you not. I haven't talked about it until now. My name's Ann Leslie Smith. I am the founder of Earthsuit Entertainment, so let's get into this video. Alright, so years ago when I was a model and I was married to a really famous guy, really good looking, really super wealthy, and you know, the kind of guy that everybody would want to marry, right? Everything looked good on the outside, but on the inside, behind closed doors, it was sort of trouble in paradise. And I've learned from that time that a lot of things in life are like that. What looks good, you know, and we're like, oh, I wish I was like that, is really kind of the opposite of what's going on behind closed doors, but people will never let you know that. So the reason why I made this channel is to let you know that sometimes what you see is the opposite of really what's going on in people's lives. I'm a bold, upfront, straight up person who's had a lot of situations, a lot of setbacks that should have destroyed me, but they didn't. And in fact, I came out even better. You know, it's like save the best for last, and that's what I'm doing now, and that's what this channel's all about. So I'm going to tell you the first step that you have to do to get into the impossible zone. And that's a zone where things happen that defy logic, that defy reality, that defy what we learn in school, that defy what the scientists find, that define what anybody says is normal. This is what people call abnormal. I call it normal. And the first thing that has to happen is sort of paradoxical, okay? And what it is you got to have a breakdown. You have to have heartbreak. You have to sort of, like, the worst case scenario, lose all your money. That kind of thing. I mean, you really have to be depleted. Despair that. Because what happens is, it says, like, unless a seed falls to the ground and dies, it can't grow. So I'm sorry, folks, but that's what happened in my life. I was riding high as a model. I weighed like 104 pounds, 5'9". I was really tiny, but I thought I looked really cool. But everybody else is, you know, thinking, no, that's not cool. But I was under a lot of stress because being married to the man that I was married to required me to be something other than what I am. And I thought I could do it, and I did it well. But it really wasn't me. And how many things in your life are you doing that aren't you? And you know deep down inside. But it's fun on the outside, you know, I mean, hey, I had everything. By the time I was like 26 years old, I had everything in the world. You know, I drove Ferraris and exotic cars and had all the clothes that money could buy and, you know, doing really fun things all over the world. Who wouldn't want that? Little did anyone know that it was trouble in paradise and I was on my way for a fall. And I fell. But without falling, you can't go into the impossible zone. So you have to have a setback. You have to have a breakdown. You have to have a heartache, a heartbreak. You have to, in order to have a breakthrough. So a lot of you that are going through a lot of heartbreak right now, I'm telling you, it is setting you up for a breakthrough. You're going to break through and get into this impossible zone, okay? It's paradoxical. Life is like that, and we don't want any situations. I think most of us live our life in that third dimension that says be safe, you know, our subconscious, which is 95% of our thoughts, and we have 65,000 thoughts a day. Most of them are, ooh, you know, don't do that, and doubt, and things like that. That's the way we're programmed, you know, and you better do this, and you better marry that kind of person, and you better have this kind of career, or else you're gonna fall. Well, little does our subconscious tell us that falling is the very thing you need to do to find yourself, to get up to that level of impossible zone, which is actually the fourth dimension where things happen in what you would call the spiritual. It's like the heaven zone. I mean, how can I say it? The soul zone, the spirit zone. Okay, it's that zone. It's where impossible things happen that don't make sense in life, and they're hard to explain. But guess what? Enough people have had it. I'm one for sure. So let me tell you what happened, okay? So eventually I got a divorce from my husband, and then what happened was I was under so much stress for so long that I actually got cancer, and I was cured of cancer. But that's how I was at dis-ease, and I had the dis-ease of cancer in my body, and an outcrop from all that stress and all that being who I really wasn't. It wasn't straight up Anne, it was someone else. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't me. You know, I wasn't writing, I wasn't singing songs, I wasn't doing all my creative things. So anyway, that's what I started doing again after my divorce. I got my freedom back. I wasn't bound anymore. I was out of that prison that you can kind of get yourself in when you're not being yourself. So I got out, and one night, it was around Christmas time, and I had this little Christmas tree with the lights on it. And all of a sudden I looked at it, and it was blinking like out of control, and I said, well, I better, I want to take a picture of this. And it was casting like this really weird image, and the image stayed on even though the lights were off. And I went, that is super weird. Oh my gosh, what is happening here? But I was filled with joy. I remember the night, my fireplace, I had a fire in the fireplace. I was listening to Christmas music. I was free. I was in my element. It was so comfy and cozy, and I was so joyous. I was like out of my mind with joy, honestly. I really was. I remember it well. And I looked at the Christmas tree and I see this image, right? So I said, I better take a picture of that. So I got my Polaroid camera. This was a while back. And I took a picture of it, took the picture out of the Polaroid, went to develop. There were 5 angels on the picture with the Christmas tree upside down. So I took the picture, yes, I know, I about fainted. In fact, I think I did faint for a little bit. Anyway, so I took the picture to a friend of mine who's a photographer, and he says, Anne, because the Christmas tree was upside down to the angels. And he says, this proves that it's authentic because those angels are like live in a spiritual realm that they can't be photographed because they're not solid. So they didn't get reflected onto the mirror of the camera that reflects it upside down and back again. You know what I mean? I don't want to get into that. But anyway, they went straight onto the film emulsion. And there they were. And I looked at that and went, oh my gosh. Well, what that was the impossible zone. And how did I get there? I got there because I was free. I was free to be Anne again. I was writing songs and playing my guitar. And I even got my first song on the radio at that time. I really didn't have any money to even do it. And I was writing with incredible people. I remember writing with Michael Masser, who wrote a lot of songs with Whitney Houston. This was a long time ago. And Narda Michael Walton, and I was meeting people, oh my goodness, all these musicians, because I am a musician. And a lot of people don't know that. But that's a song I wrote, Angels All Over, which is you're going to see right now. And that's also the name of my charity that helps people with setbacks and homelessness and things like that. So Angels All Over, there were angels all over, and I didn't know it until I hit this rapturous joy, and they came out and said hello to me, and I took a picture of them. And some guy, I remember, I took it to another expert, and he says, when did you take this picture? I said at Christmas time, and he says, well, angels like to have their pictures taken too, and they do. So, but there are angels all over, and they want to make themselves known. And it's only in that 4th dimension that they exist in. But we just want to stay in the 3rd dimension, which is really, really safe, because it's our program mind, it's our subconscious mind that tells us, okay, you got to do it this way, you got to follow your routine, and don't get distracted, just stay here, and doubt, and fear, the fear center, 3D, so there is no fear in the 4th dimension, it's a happy place, and that's where we want to get to, and that's what my channel is all about, to get you to that place you need to be, free to be yourself, free to do all the things that your destiny says that you can do, that through your imagination. You could see it in the theater of your mind, can't you? You can see in the theater of your mind that your imagination, you could see yourself in this role that you're to be, that the real you can just see that in your imagination, because imagination is reality, actually. Knock, knock, guess what? So write that down below, comment down below that imagination is reality. And I know you're going to hear this on other people's YouTube channels too, because it's true. Imagination, the thing that people say, oh, you've got a wild imagination, and they kind of poo-poo and say, don't be so, don't be daydreaming off. Well, I say to you, be full of imagination. Try to find the time to think about, pay attention to your imagination, pay attention to your dreams. they're there for a reason. You know, we're kind of designed that way. The Creator made us that way, to have dreams and visions. You know why? Because that's trying to nudge us into the areas where we need to be. That will keep us safe. That will keep you happy. That will keep you in that level. So you don't have to do drugs. You don't have to be in a relationship when you're with a person that isn't quite for you. You know what I mean? You know what I'm talking about. You know when you're with that person that's okay and it's not okay? Deep down inside, you feel it deep down inside. That inner you, that fourth dimension inside of you says, that person's not good for you. Or when you're doing the drugs, and you know that, yeah, the feeling of the euphoria is there, it's artificial, but you know, how long is that going to last? Now you're out robbing homes and acting belligerent and in bad moods, angry, you know, all that stuff. Police are being called, you know the chain of where that goes. Or else you just simply get distracted. You're out in life and you're doing this and that and you've lost your way. But this channel will help you keep your way, to help you we want you towards the fourth dimension. You know, I mean, it's not easy to do, but it's not impossible to do. And that's that impossible zone that you want to strive for, because that's a great place. You know what that means? That means check, check, check. You're being you. You're doing all the things like this, like doing a YouTube channel, or writing music, or writing poetry, or painting, or even just relaxing, doing something for you. That's that fourth dimension. That's the impossible zone that I want you to get to, okay? So I'm here to help you get to that impossible zone, and some other places too. So thanks for watching. Comment below. Let me know if you have any questions about anything I talked about. And there are angels all over. Bye for now.